So I've been waiting to film this video until I get some more experience with my 2023 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. And after around 4 months and 2,600 miles of off-roading, highway driving, and city driving, I think I'm finally ready to tell you guys if I regret selling my Dodge Challenger ScatPack for my 392 Wrangler. Now, short answer is absolutely not. I definitely do not regret selling my Challenger ScatPack for my 392, although they do have many similarities. Of course, the 392 is a much different vehicle than the Dodge Challenger ScatPack. Now, of course, you know, as the name implies, they both have a 6.4 liter V8 Hemi. Now, in the Challenger ScatPack, it makes 485 crank horsepower. In the Jeep version, it makes 470. And now, of course, that's crank horsepower as well. So the Challenger comes from the factory with about 15 more horsepower. Now, of course, not really much to make a difference with anything, but the difference in performance comes from the weight and aerodynamics. So, of course, the Challenger, it weighs around 4,200 pounds, and the Jeep weighs around 5,100 pounds. So quite a huge difference right there. That's definitely enough to make a noticeable difference in my opinion. And of course, the aerodynamics of the Jeep here are definitely going to make a difference in, you know, top speed and acceleration as well. Now, when it comes to the top speed, there really isn't a way to test out the full top speed unless you get like a, I believe the Taser actually takes off the top speed limiter, but these are actually limited to, I believe, 99 miles per hour. And then with the Extreme Recon package, I believe they're limited to around 112. I might have gotten those two backwards, but I believe those are the numbers. I've never actually tested those out because that would be illegal, and I don't do illegal things unless I'm in Mexico. But like I said, this thing does have a top speed limiter, so it's not really possible to actually, you know, test out the full top speed unless you get a Taser. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I believe with a Taser you can take off the top speed limiter. Top speed of the Challenger, on the other hand, is 182 miles per hour. Now, I don't know the exact top speed of the Wrangler, but I believe, you know, I would assume it would be a lot lower than 182. Now, with that being said, of course, the Challenger is made for performance. It's made for on-road performance. The Jeep Wrangler, on the other hand, is made for off-road driving, but it also does have very good on-road performance considering what it actually is. Now, with a Jeep that weighs 5,100 pounds and it has 470 horsepower, shaped like a brick, has 35-inch tires, you know, has a factory lift kit, you can't really expect a whole amount of on-road performance from a vehicle like this. Now, to my surprise, it actually does perform extremely well on the road. Now, if you guys have been watching some of my other videos about my 392, then you'll know one of my favorite things to say about it is that you get the best of both worlds. Now, you do have, obviously, amazing off-road capabilities. You do have front and rear diff lockers. You got high and low range, full-time four-wheel drive, electronically disconnecting sway bar, the whole 9 yards, 35-inch all-terrain BF Goodrich KO2s. This thing pretty much comes ready to go off-roading from the factory. There's really not much that you need to do to actually make this thing super off-road capable, unless you just want to do extreme like rock crawling or extreme like mudding or anything like that. For the most part, it comes ready to go straight from the factory. Now, with the Challenger, of course, if you compare it to other muscle cars or other performance vehicles, there are many mods that you need to do to a Challenger to actually make it keep up. Now, as compared to the Jeep, like I said, this thing comes ready to go straight from the factory, and it'll outperform most stock off-roaders out there. And I definitely mean that. It will outperform most stock off-road vehicles that are out there. Close competitors, of course, to this are the new Bronco Raptor, which comes stock from the factory with 37-inch tires. So I would say that is the main competitor to the Wrangler 392. But if you compare it to pretty much any other car out there that comes from the factory, this is pretty much as good as they get for off-road vehicles right here. And then going back to the Challenger, there definitely are a lot more vehicles out there that are competitors to the Challenger, such as the Mustang GT and Camaro SS are the two main competitors that I would compare them to. And, you know, those cars definitely do put up a good fight with the Challenger. And I would almost even argue that they do have better performance than the Challenger. I did race a Mustang GT and got beat, and it was completely stock. Haven't raced a Camaro SS, but I wouldn't doubt that it has better performance, especially on the track. Maybe not in a straight line or, you know, top speed run or anything like that. But, you know, different vehicles serve different purposes. Now, also, moving on to a different kind of topic, talking about the Challenger versus Jeep Wrangler 392 here, is just the amount of freedom and fun that I'm able to have. Like I said, best of both worlds with this thing. With the Challenger, it only served one specific purpose, and that was to have fun in a straight line on, pavement, just like this. With the Wrangler 392, I can have the same amount of fun on the road. I can take it on twisty roads. Obviously, it's not going to handle as good, but I do feel like I can have pretty much the same amount of fun on the road with this thing that I had with the Challenger ScatPack. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as fast. It's not going to be able to keep up with the cars that I could keep up with the Challenger. But with that being said, I'm not saying it's less fun on the road than the Challenger just because that's not as fast. I can still have a whole bunch of fun with this thing on pavement just like this. I can take it on twisty roads, and I can just have fun with it and treat it like a car that way, and just throw it around turns and just push it to its limits. Now, of course, it's not going to handle as well, like I said, but it still is, pretty much as fun as a Challenger would be on the road. Now, like I said, best of both worlds. So with the Jeep here, I can also have a bunch of fun off-road as well. I can take this thing on any kind of camping trips. I can hit up some off-road trails. I can drive on the beach. I can, I literally don't have to worry about anything or anywhere that I drive with the Wrangler right here. With the Challenger, I always had to be super cautious of where I had to drive that thing. I couldn't really take it to, anywhere that I wanted to, obviously. I couldn't take it on the beach. I couldn't take it on camping trips. It was pretty much a one-purpose car, and that was to, cautiously drive it on the roads. As you guys know, speed bumps are, not very friendly to cars that have long tube headers or cars that have tires like that or low suspension like the Challenger. And especially if you lower it, then of course you do have to be even more cautious than if you have a stock suspension or a stock, exhaust Challenger. Anytime I went over speed bumps, I pretty much always scraped on the headers, and that's because I had long tube headers. Anytime I went over potholes, I was always worried about, popping the tires. Anytime I was parking it, I was always worried about hitting the splitter. And you guys pretty much get the idea. I didn't really have too much freedom whenever driving the Challenger. I was always worried about the road conditions. I didn't want to, drive over a pothole and pop the tire or scrape it just from a normal speed bump. With the Jeep, I could literally just drive over this hill right here and it wouldn't feel literally anything. So, obviously I think you guys get the point that with the Wrangler here, I do have a lot more freedom with what I can do, and I can just have a lot more fun with it. I can have fun on road, and then obviously off road I can have a whole bunch of fun as well. And obviously I know it also comes down to personal preference as well. Not everybody is into off-roading, and not everybody is into, straight line acceleration. But I did want to also talk about some specific examples of, my opinions for how I like to have fun with this Jeep versus the Challenger. With the Challenger, I can have fun with it for, maybe 10 to 20 seconds. I took it to the Pocono Raceway for a 3rd mile roll racing event. What the heck? Now for that, I had to drive, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours to actually get to the track. I had to pay like $250 to race. I raced like 4 times the entire day. And I had to buy like a $300 helmet as well. So right there, 4 races, 5 hours of driving all day, and $550 plus whatever gas I spent to actually get there. Now, a specific example for having fun with the Wrangler here, I can take it to an off-road trail that's about an hour and a half away. I can have fun all day, not just for 4 races, and I can pay $30 for an annual pass. Now, you do the math, but I think it's definitely much more efficient to have fun with a Jeep Wrangler. Now, obviously, the 392 is quite a bit more expensive than the Challenger ScatPack, so I guess it kind of makes sense. I don't know, it's probably going to be a very long payback period for that one, but we'll see what happens. But specific examples, I definitely do think it's cheaper to have fun with a Wrangler, not thinking about the actual purchase price of the vehicle. Obviously that makes a huge difference as well, but I think for me, I definitely am able to have a lot more fun with the Wrangler. Like I said, I'm not trying to sound negative whatsoever about the Challenger. I did have a whole bunch of fun with that car. You know, I had it for like 6 years and it was a whole bunch of fun. Anytime I started it up, anytime I drove it, anytime I raced it, it was a whole bunch of fun. The race at Pocono was a whole bunch of fun. It was the most fun that I've ever had with that car because I could take it to its full potential and not have to worry about anything at all. You know, it was on a private track, on a closed course, and I could race any kind of cars that I wanted to. A whole bunch of fun. So, like I said, the Challenger definitely was a very fun car. I'm just saying in my own opinion, I definitely think that I'm able to have more fun and definitely have more freedom with the Wrangler 392. So, you know, obviously, everything is a personal preference when it comes to vehicles and cars like this, but you know, I wanted to make this video and kind of explain, you know, after 4 months of having this thing and around 2,600 miles of different types of driving, I definitely do not regret replacing my Challenger ScatPack with a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. And of course, as always, if you guys have any questions for me, make sure to drop those down in the comment section below. Whether that's a question about the Challenger or the Wrangler right here, I'd definitely be happy to answer any of your questions. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more 392 videos or XJ videos as well. I am planning on taking this thing on some more off-road trails, maybe do some camping trips with it. Definitely don't want you guys to miss those videos. So thanks for watching.